The first blow is never the hardest. It's the second, the third, the relentless piling on when you're already on your knees, that's what destroys most people. Failure doesn't arrive politely, it barges in, strips away pride, reputation, money, friendships, and leaves you staring into a mirror, asking the question most are too afraid to whisper, "Am I finished?" Anthony Scaramucci had been there. His life, once sculpted in marble confidence, was shattered overnight in the brutal world of politics. What was meant to be his brightest moment turned into a cautionary tale replayed endlessly on television screens. People he trusted turned their backs. Headlines mocked him. His own name, Scaramucci, was no longer his, but a punchline. Most men would have collapsed under the weight of that humiliation. And truthfully, for a while, he almost did. At the same time, across the country, Morgan Housel was wrestling with a very different but equally destructive force. The quiet, gnawing power of money and fear. He had spent years studying how wealth shapes human behavior, not just the pursuit of it, but the haunting terror of losing it. For Morgan, the stories of ordinary people crumbling under debt, greed, or envy were more tragic than anything he'd read in a history book. He often said, "It's not money itself that destroys most people, it's the emotions attached to it." When the two men sat down together for a conversation, it wasn't about politics or economics on the surface. It was about survival. About what happens after the world decides you're finished. Anthony recounted the humiliation of seeing his downfall plastered across every screen. "The hardest part wasn't losing the job," he said, his voice steady but his eyes carrying the weight of memory. "It was my kids. It was walking into my own house and seeing them look at me like the world had just branded their father a failure. That destroys most people. Not the firing. Not the headlines. But the shame." Morgan nodded. He had heard this rhythm before, not in politics, but in finance. "People think bankruptcy is about numbers," he said. "But it's about dignity. It's about a father not being able to tell his kids why the house is gone, why Christmas will be different this year. Numbers don't destroy people. Shame does." The two men sat in that truth, letting it settle between them like a heavy silence. But here's the twist: what destroys most people doesn't have to destroy you. That was the thread they kept pulling at. Anthony explained how he rebuilt his life brick by brick, not by chasing redemption in the eyes of the media but by facing the mirror. "I had to decide," he said, "if my story was going to end in that humiliation or if it was just a chapter." Morgan added his perspective: "The most resilient people I've studied don't avoid mistakes. They accept them as tuition, the cost of learning. What destroys most people isn't failure. It's the belief that failure is permanent. From there, the